Welcome back, everybody, to Confluence of Worlds with Brian Rector. And we know that we just got to do an episode with Duke Brennan, who had a lot of good things to say about his journey into being one of the premier basketball players in Arizona, eventually committing to Grand Canyon. But today, we have a show that I'm really looking forward to. And this is somebody to my right here who I've admired from a distance for quite a while. I mean, I think we've worked together for what, 2 years now? Last year and this year. But what's super cool and what I learned is that my guest today is not only a competitive athlete at Michigan State, but also highly involved in a couple other things around campus, most namely in media and sports with Big Ten Student U, which is the program that I'm in, and a few of the guests I've had have been involved. I know Caleb actually is trying to be involved. He just interviewed with Matt yesterday, actually, which was kind of cool. But no, I really appreciate you, Breanna, for coming by. And just know, folks, that she is a competitive rower. So we want to establish that. But has a really interesting backstory, and actually just got to tell her testimony at AIA, Athletes in Action, which, as you guys have heard, is a tremendous kind of resource group and like really good ministry movement at Michigan State for athletes, but even sometimes and in some cases for those that aren't, but just have a strong relationship with God and with their faith. So let's get right into it. But Breanna, I was curious, talk to me a little bit about your family situation, your upbringing, and kind of how you got here to Michigan State.
Yeah, so I'm from Stanwood, Michigan, which is like a really, really small rednecky town by Big Rapids, Michigan. And I have a younger sister named Breanna, and then my mom and dad live with them all my life, I guess. And then growing up, I played basketball, volleyball, and I did track and field also. I got recruited out of high school to go row at Michigan State, which I've never done before until I got to college. And just really, really liked the campus, and it wasn't like super far away from home, but also like kind of close that I could still go home if I needed to. And so I just really, really liked it and enjoyed it on my visit. So that's how I got here.
Absolutely. And I know one of the things that we've heard on the show, folks, is that a lot of athletes and just a lot of people in general do one thing or a couple things, in your case, a couple different sports, and then make that transition and that change. So I was curious, that feels like something that requires a lot of trust and a lot of faith in the process, and being able to make that happen and be comfortable. So what role does your faith play in your relationship with Jesus?
So definitely in high school I was super worried about my future and where I wanted to go and what I even wanted to do and all of that. And so I think I had someone actually give me some advice and say it doesn't really matter where you go, Breanna, or what you do. God's gonna use you in whatever way, or whatever happens or wherever you go. He's gonna use you through that. So essentially, it doesn't you don't have to worry so much about oh, I'm gonna go to this school and then I'll meet these people and do this. But wherever you go, wherever he places you, he's gonna be there using you.
Absolutely. And growing up, were you in a faith background? Was your family Christian and practicing, or kind of how did that look like?
So I went to church pretty much every Sunday, just because my mom and dad would make me go, sort of thing. And I wouldn't say I really had a relationship with Jesus necessarily. It was more just kind of something that I was told to do, so I would do it because I was told to or whatever. And then we got a new pastor one year at my church. I think I was in maybe 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that. And his kids were like super passionate about this church camp that they would go to every summer. And so a bunch of the kids that went to my church and me also went to the church camp. I think it was like after my 8th grade year of school was finished, so like right before 9th grade I went. And yeah, I just kind of experienced like the Lord like I never like had before. Like I was like, oh, like this is something like I can actually have like a relationship with God, and he's not just like someone like scary that's in the sky or whatever that my parents like make me like think about or go worship at church or whatever. So yeah, I ended up giving my life to Christ that summer at church camp, and then I feel like after I got back, like in high school, my faith was like pretty strong all throughout high school, and then I'd say when I got to college, it kind of like fell off a little bit just with like some different things that happened in my life. And now I'd say like I'm definitely like trying to pursue the Lord.
For sure. And I know, as I mentioned just at the very top of the show, that you had a chance to share your testimony actually at Athletes in Action. So I was curious, what did that look like, and how important was that for you to be able to profess that publicly in front of a bunch of peers and just kind of on that that platform?
Yeah. So I actually spoke last year at AIA also, which I feel like was like my like big testimony share, whatever. And then this year was just like a little bit like deeper into my story, I guess you could say. But yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, just like a little nerve-wracking, but something I've been thinking about like sharing for a long time. And I have a girl that disciples with me who works for Athletes in Action. Her name's Lauren Bonis, and she's awesome. But yeah, she's been like super encouraging, and just like, I don't know, just like talking with her, I feel like has gave me like so much more confidence in like sharing my story.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I love, like, when I talked to Caleb Coley, I was like, okay, so he said, talk to Breanna. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then, right in conjunction with that, as I was telling you off camera, it was like, oh, she's actually speaking at AA. And so I was like, oh my goodness, we need to get her on the show. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. Let's go somewhere else, though, because I know, like, your time at Michigan State has been with a lot of different things on your plate, doing a lot of different things with rowing and with school and with Big Ten and with all these different opportunities. So I was curious, as a Christian and knowing what you know about how you should, or have every reason to have trust and faith in the process, and in being able to have the strength to get through these different things, how does it look like for you to navigate all those different things that you do?
Yeah, so I'd say it's definitely like challenging. Definitely was like when I was a freshman and like younger and stuff, but I feel like I've like grown a lot in like all of those areas, and just like not only like time management and stuff, but also just like I don't know, like trusting God through all of that stuff, I guess. Like especially with rowing, it's very hard. I went to this like, it's like a summer program, I guess, that Athletes in Action does. It's called UTC, Ultimate Training Camp. And so I went to this summer, and it's basically like, it's just all these different athletes from different schools across the country, different sports and like things like that. And they like essentially like teach you how to like combine like God and sport into like one thing, sort of, and not make them like these two like separate areas of your life, which I feel like was what I have been doing for a long time in my life, I guess. And yeah, so like one thing that like sticks out to me is they talked about like having like a focal point and stuff. So like something that you can like physically see while you're like participating in your sport that like helps you like refocus and like remember like your purpose and like why you're like able to do your sport. Like God has given you like those gifts so that you can like glorify him in some way. And like as an athlete, I feel like your athletic ability is a way of like glorifying the Lord and stuff. And so like actually had another leader, staff member of AIA, like that helps out. She made me and like a couple other my teammates these like little like ankle bracelet things that we could wear while we row. So like I'm gonna start using like that as my focal point this season, and just like, you know, when things get hard, because rowing is very like physically and mentally draining, and because it's just so like repetitive and like just a lot on your body as well. And so just having like something that I can look at to like remind me that like there's like such like there's like a bigger purpose in my life than like, and it's not all just winning and losing and like my performance. It's like it's about God and glorifying Him.
For sure. I'm so fortunate that you brought that up about UTC, because the one time that I'd heard about it prior, and if you guys tuned in to our episode with Jonathan Stout, he laid that thing out to a T. I mean, he told us everything that we had to know about UTC. And so I loved hearing the background from him. And then, you know, to appreciate that takeaway, that's a great reminder, I think, is to, even if it's something physical, like a bracelet, right? I know, like, I wear Matthew 7:7, and then I kind of wear this one too, which was given to me last February after kind of everything happened here at Michigan State with the whole shooting incident. But I can resonate with that, absolutely, is that if there's something physical that's there, that it just makes sense to keep your eyes fixated on that when it gets tough. Because I know he talked about, when Jonathan was here, he talked about how there were some serious physical challenges at UTC, where it was like kind of like a battle or like games that were happening, that were competition based. What were some of those that like stick out to you, and what did they do to help teach you?
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say like UTC is probably one of like the hardest like things I've done, like in like an athletically physical, like just because like you don't really have any rest and you're just going like nonstop doing like all these things. But I know like I'm trying to, like, one thing that sticks out to me that I like really remember from my time there is it was the second day of like the special, which is like the big competition thingy or whatever that we do. And it's like towards the end, and my team was going through like the obstacle course, and we're at like this one station where we had to do up downs or whatever, like burpee type things. And we had to do like 20 up downs. The people like running the station had to be able to hear everyone counting. Your chest had to like hit the ground every single time, and like all they just had to be like measure up to like certain like expectations or whatever, basically. And so my team was on like up down number 19, and a girl on my team didn't like count, so we had to go all the way back to 0. And I just remember like in that moment being like so incredibly frustrated because I was so tired from like the day before, and like all she had to do was like say like count 20, and she didn't, so we had to go back to the start. And like I was just like it was just so frustrating, and like made me so like upset. But I remember like thinking in that moment just about like the grace kind of that God gives us as people, and like how like who am I to get upset when like I'm sure another challenge like that we already did before, like I messed up and like we had to restart something, and like here I am like judging her for not like forgetting to say a number or whatever, and just like kind of thinking about like how much grace God gives us as people and what He's done for us, and like I can do the same thing for like my teammates and people that I care about, and even people that I don't care about.
That's really, I so appreciate you sharing that story from the inside. That I think, you know, will resonate with a lot of people. Just that idea that, you know, it's really easy to point fingers. right? But it's more important to be introspective and realize what you did, which is that grace abounds, right? And is a covering factor to all of our lives, with whatever it be, with mistakes, with challenges, with trials. So I really appreciate hearing that. As all of that relates to rowing, I'm curious. Is like, are you coming back this year with a different perspective after having done something like that, and after having grown as you have? Have you seen change this year so far?
Yeah, I would definitely say I have a lot better intention this year. Not only just like competing in my sport and like keeping like a positive mindset, because I feel like I'm someone, or at least I used to be someone who would get very like frustrated by not like my teammates' performance or like my own performance if like I wasn't doing well and that sort of thing. Um, so yeah, I feel like I definitely have like a better perspective about that and like bringing like a more positive energy to my team and like that kind of thing. And also just like reaching out to my teammates about like inviting them to AIA, or like inviting them to get coffee or something like that, or like asking them to like come to my Bible study and like that kind of thing. Just because like I feel like I've realized I only have like so much time left now to like reach like them, I guess. And I mean, these are people that I'm spending like majority of my time with and stuff. So like that's just like such an easy like opportunity for me to like share the word with them, or like even just have like conversations that lead to God and Jesus and like what he's done for us.
That's super cool. I know, because as we had said, you're a senior, you're kind of thinking about the next step, but I love hearing that you're finding a way to integrate teammates and to make a difference. That's super cool. And I hope that that's what people out there take from that right there, is that no matter how much time you have left, there's always enough time to make a change and to start ushering in a difference. What is the culture like amidst your team? Because the rowing team is pretty large, right? Like there are a lot of girls on it, and a lot of people as a whole. I was curious, is like, what does that look like? How do you try and connect with some of them or all of them? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, so it's definitely difficult, especially like every year, like in the fall semester, I'd say is difficult just because you have like 30 to 40 new girls that are coming in that like you have to learn all their names and like talk to them and like figure out like what kind of person they are, like what they like to do and like interests and like stuff like that, or like what kind of dynamic you're gonna like have with this person, kind of thing. So I feel like I've gotten better at like navigating that whole aspect over the years. And but yeah, I definitely say like just reaching teammates is about like having relationship with them at first, because I know right when you like talk to someone, it's not always gonna be like, oh, like this is what I believe and like you should believe it too or whatever. You kind of have to like have them warm up to you, sort of. So I feel like a big thing that I try and do with my teammates is just like get to know them and make them feel like comfortable about me, like, or comfortable around me, like I'm someone that they can trust and like that kind of thing. And always just like offer like, I don't know, like I feel like I'm a good like listener and like that kind of thing. And just like, I don't know, I feel like I'm very, I would say, introverted, sort of, which is a little, like, I don't know, like, harder to, like, I feel like I have to force myself, kind of, to get to know people and that sort of thing. But I also feel like it's kind of, like, a gift that God has given me, just because, like, I feel like I am a good listener, and, like, people tend to, like, trust me more and, like, that sort of thing. And so, like, once I've, like, built a connection with someone that I think is like good, then it's like so much easier for like to invite them to things and be like, hey, like, do you want to come to AIA with me, or like, do you want to go do this, or like get coffee, or like go to like Salt on Thursday night, or like something like that. And yeah, so just like being able to build like good, like have like a good solid relationship with every person on the team that's so like individualistic, I feel like is like a really really important part of like reaching my teammates and trying to like connect them to the word.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I love that response. For a ton of different reasons, but I just appreciate the vigor that you have for it and the recognition of some gifts that you've been given that allow you to make that change. I was curious. I don't want this interview to go by without the people knowing more about you because frankly, I want to know myself. I'm curious. What are some of the ways what are some of your passions? What are some of the things that you do to get away from the grind of school, of sport? Talk to me about what that looks like, free time, and how you spend it.
Yeah. So I, like you said earlier, like I work for like Big Ten Student U and like Spartan Vision. So I think that's really like fun and also like a good way to connect with my teammates too, because when they see me at the game with like the camera and they're like, oh, like Bree, come over here, whatever. Yeah, so that's like super fun. It's something I really enjoy because I'm a big sports fan, especially like basketball and like that kind of, or volleyball even too. I really like volleyball.
Sure.
And I also, trying to think. Oh, I like going for walks a lot just to like clear my head or like, I don't know, because I really like exercising. Like I feel like it gives me like a clarity almost. And I feel like walking outside is probably one of my favorite exercises, just like with like any kind of music in and like just like, I don't know, if it's like nice out too, like really fun, I guess. And just hanging out with friends also, that's always a good time. And watching TV, I do a lot of that. Yeah, I like to go thrift shopping too.
Oh, okay.
That's very fun. Me and one of my friends, she hadn't been before, so I went this weekend actually with her on Sunday. We went to a couple different ones. I don't think it's her thing, not for everyone, but I thought it was fun. So, yeah.
Okay, for sure. That's awesome. I was wondering, because I know, wow, oh my goodness, what is going on? I need to clear that up. But, so I know you're in digital storytelling as a major, and I know that obviously we've done a lot of work together at football games, and I love seeing that stuff, that engagement that you have in the student section. It's amazing to watch. I was curious if you could talk a little bit about where the love and appreciation for media came from.
Yeah, so I feel like it's kind of weird, but when I was younger, my friends would like come over to my house and we'd be hanging out or whatever, and I used to have this app on my phone like when I was in middle school. It was called Video Star, and we'd like make these little like music videos together, and I would never want to be in them. I'd always want to be like behind the camera like doing stuff, like telling them what to do or like whatever. And I don't know, I just really really enjoyed that, and like I feel like some of my best like childhood memories are like from like stuff like that, or like just even getting like to watch the videos back, because I still have like some of them on my phone. But yeah, and I just like, I feel like I just really really enjoyed video, and like I've always liked like taking pictures and stuff when I was younger. Like my mom used to buy me like the little disposable cameras, and I'd take them on field trips and stuff.
I see.
And so yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then in high school, I went to our high school's like career center, and we had a program called digital video production there. And so I took that and learned a lot from that, and just like, I don't know, I really liked all the, because I think I was like the only girl in the class, but all the like guys that I was in there with was like really fun. And yeah, so I'd say that's where it came from.
You know, I was fascinated when you were speaking about some of the things that you do away from sport. when you mentioned the walking piece, and as well as plugging into music, I know that there's a story where you got to meet KB, and I was wondering, I was super like intrigued by that, and so I was wondering, kind of like a two-part. First, what do you listen to most? And then also, how in the world did that story come to be? Where you got to meet, I mean, one of the most prominent, Christian artists ever.
Yeah. Well, I'd say I really like hip hop sort of, or like R&B, like rap, that kind of thing. And like lately I've been like listening more and more to Christian rap. And I think it was in high school. Yeah, like my 10th grade year of high school maybe. My youth group, we'd always go to this thing called Winter Jam, which was like, it was like a Christian like concert with all these like different artists. I guess kind of like a Christian like music festival almost, sort of. But KB was like there the one year, and I really liked him and like some of his songs and stuff. And I remember when we were going to leave the concert, I just like saw him standing there, and I was like, wait, like that's KB. And then like we ran up and like got a picture with him, and I think he like signed a couple of my friends like phone cases or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that was like really cool.
What do you think about the place of Christian faith and like background and teachings in pop culture and like in music? Do you appreciate that? I know you said you listened to it a little bit, and obviously had an experience like that, but what do you think about how well people can get connected and learn about the gospel and about teachings through something like music?
Yeah, I think it's really like interesting, just because like, especially with like rap music and stuff and like hip hop, I feel like that, like, I think when most people think about Christian music, they think of like singing hymns or like some like slow, mellow song or whatever. And like, I don't think people realize that like Christian music can be like interesting and like something that they actually like enjoy listening to or like or whatever. I was thinking about in high school, I don't know if you know who Andy Mineo is. He's a Christian rapper.
I don't.
But he has this song that's like, or maybe it's KB actually, but it's like, it says something about like, I believe we will win, or like something like that. But I think KB and Andy Mineo, in high school, I think I was in charge of making the playlist one time for like one of our games, like for like all of our like warm-up songs and stuff that we would do on the court. So I put like a KB song and an Andy Mineo song. It was just funny to see some of my teammates being like, oh, this is actually like really good, and like I really like this song, like what is this, Breanna? And I'm like, oh, like it's Christian rap, like. And I just think that's like such a cool way of like integrating people into like the Christian faith without them like actually knowing it.
Yeah, for sure. I love hearing that. Taking that by surprise. And I feel like oftentimes that happens, is people realize, or like you have to fill them in. Like this is actually what it is, this is why it's happening, And then they're more receptive to it, which I find super funny.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is like, now that you're getting to a point where you're senior in college and thinking about that next step, is where are you headed to? I know. That was kind of a very short way of phrasing that. But I was curious, is like, if you've given any thought to it, what are some of the things that you want to do? What are some of your goals? What are you looking to, go off to experience?
Yeah. So I would say I really enjoy my job like with Spartan Vision and like Big Ten Student U. So anything to do with like sports media, I think would be like really cool and interesting like career path to pursue. I know I'd like to like get out of Michigan, especially like while I'm young, and like, I don't know, like just have more experiences in like new places, because I think that's like one of my favorite things is like exploring a new place and like just like figuring things out, and like that kind of thing. So definitely like move away from home, hopefully, and get into like a bigger city and just kind of see what happens. I don't know, like I don't have any like specific plans. I just kind of like I my mom always asks me what I want to do, and I'm just like, oh, like I'm just gonna go wherever the wind takes me. And I feel like that's kind of like my mantra right now.
Okay, absolutely. Have you, because I know you talked about, moving to a bigger city and experiencing a new place. Have you been able to travel much growing up?
Yeah. So this summer I actually worked in Boston.
Oh, wow.
As a I was a residential coordinator, which was it's basically like an RA but for high school students who are like doing like pre-college programs. So I was at Tufts University, and yeah, it was just really cool to like meet all these new people and like explore this new place and like live there for like I think I was there for like 2 months maybe. So like that was really cool and interesting. And the summer before that, I got to go on a cruise for my sister's graduation. We went to Italy and Greece, and so I really really enjoyed that. And yeah, I just think traveling and like experiencing new culture and people and like all of that stuff is super cool.
You know what was super funny, and I'm really, once again, I love the fact that you said this right now, because what I was going to ask is, have you had any chance to be out in the community, doing outreach, doing things that, are experiencing, like, as you said, high school kids, where they're looking at their next step? But you kind of answered that already. So I was curious, is like, have you been able to do anything in East Lansing or in Michigan that is kind of following suit with that, like community outreach and connecting with people?
I wouldn't say I've like done that much in East Lansing per se. I know we do this thing like it's called Team Impact on our team where we have a girl that's like she's a disability but she's like an honorary member of our team.
Okay.
So she comes to practices and like stuff like that with us. So like just being able to like do that with her has been like super cool and just be like a part of her life in that way. And then like just being home for the summer, I feel like I have like even like going back to my old high school for like stuff and like seeing people and being able to talk to people about like what I'm doing now or like what my life is looking like. I feel like I don't know, like I feel like that's almost like a form of community outreach almost, because like I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know, like I feel like by like being here and like trying my best and like giving my best every day, like I'm like giving back to my community in that way, because I come from a really small town.
Okay.
And so like I almost feel as if I'm like representing them with wherever I go, and just being able to like come back and be like, oh, like I'm doing all this cool stuff and like all of like I don't know, because I feel like in a way they kind of like pushed me to get to where I am now.
Absolutely. Just one kind of quick thing before we go out of here. I know we're on break, today, and we'll be back to the class rigor tomorrow, but I wanted to touch on what you just said, which is that, come from a small town and kind of use that, as motivation and as, pushing yourself and your efforts forward. If you had to synthesize the ways that you derive motivation and like what you are pushed forward by, what would the couple things be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say the biggest thing is probably just like my friends and family at home, especially my family. Like I feel like my mom and dad have like made so many sacrifices for me to be able to be where I am today and like in this position, to go to Michigan State and like row and like, because that's like such an awesome opportunity that I think I and a lot of people probably take for granted. And yeah, so just like they are probably my biggest source of motivation. And then also like my younger sister, just like because I don't know, I feel like she looks up to me in a way and I don't want to like disappoint her or let her down kind of. So I feel like those would probably be my two biggest sources of motivation. and then also just like finding like motivation in God, because like I don't know, like he gave me this athletic ability and like the personality I have and the traits I have to be able to use them in a way that like is glorifying to him, and in a way that's going to be like beneficial to other people, like moving closer to him also.
Absolutely. And one last thing before we go out of here is oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Oh shoot, that was crazy. No, I was curious, is there anybody that you'd like to shout out and would like to just give one last little piece for what they've done for you and kind of the role that they play?
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like I could shout out so many people. Definitely my mom and dad and my sister Breanna. They're just so like encouraging, and like they've just given up so much for me to like be in this position. And then also Lauren Bonas, who disciples me. She is like so encouraging, and just like been an amazing resource for me throughout my college experience. And like if I have questions about faith or like anything about life, like I could call Lauren and she'd like be there in a heartbeat. And like I'm just so thankful for her. And also just like I guess like the rowing team and the community that I have there, that's like one of my favorite parts about being on the team is just the people and like the friendships that I've made through that. So definitely that. And I would also say like just like my like friends back home, they're like super supportive, and especially like my friend Austin, who passed away, but I don't know, I feel like he's also a really big source of motivation for me, because I mean he wouldn't want me to like quit or stop, and he just want me to like enjoy my life to the best of my ability. But yeah, definitely would not be in this place without him and like the story that he's given me.
Thank you so much for sharing that last piece. Oh my goodness, thank you. Wow. And thank you for being here with me today. I so appreciate having heard your perspective and opinion, and I love the fact that we could do this. So
yeah, thank you for having me.
Hey, absolutely. And that's it, folks, for Confluence of Worlds today with Breanna Berry, Michigan State rower. And as you heard throughout, she does so many other things that are impactful and making a difference in Michigan, at Michigan State, and just so excited to see where you're headed to and where you continue to go and how you use the motivations and purposes to glorify Him. So really inspired by you. And thank you, for filling me in on kind of your story and where you've been at. And folks, thank you for listening. We so appreciate that you've been able to be with us and hear all these touching stories from Michigan State athletes. And actually, now that we've been able to expand, fortunately, we covered Grand Canyon and what they're doing over there in Arizona. And we're hoping to continue to do that with the platform we have. But thank you guys so much, and hope you enjoy this fine day.